In this video, I'm going to show you the hollowing out method of hand building. This is a method that is a little bit more time consuming, but it can be really handy if you're somebody who really wants to start kind of with your finished form and then hollow it out as you go. The way that you would do the hollowing out method, and I'm just going to work with a sphere today, I'm not going to create anything super fancy, but the hollowing out method requires you to get your piece in the shape that you want it. So I'm going to make mine just a little bit taller. It requires you to put your piece in the shape that you want it, and then you cut the piece open and then literally carve the inside out. So I'm just going to give my sphere here just a bit of a flat bottom so it won't roll away on me. And then I'm going to introduce my clay knife here, and my clay knife is going to help me create an angled cut. I don't want to sit here now and just cut a lid off the top of my piece. We want to have a lid that sits in place and doesn't move or slide or run the risk of falling out of place. So if we were to cut it flat, there would be nothing keeping the lid from sliding around. So if we come in with our knife and create an angled cut, you can see my knife is going in at a slight angle here. The angled cut is going to help the lid sit in place when the piece is completed. So again, I'm cutting at a slight angle here. If I had thought ahead, I could probably have drawn my line on first. The tricky part is getting the lid to come off. So now that I've made that angle cut, I have to make sure that I'm going all the way to the center to really loosen it up. So I'm going to go through twice here until that lid comes off. So this one does come with a little bit of risk. You can see I'm working around here. Let's see if I can get that lid to come off. All right, so we've got kind of that's kind of a beautiful swirl pattern. It's on the lid and on the base itself, so it would fit in someplace like that. We have to remove a lot of this bulk. So, I forgot a pencil. What I like to do when I'm ready to start hollowing out is I want to indicate how thick I want the walls of my container to be. So what I like to do is I like to take a pencil and just roughly draw where I want to carve out and where I want to leave alone. I don't want to cut off the rim because otherwise my lid isn't going to fit. Kind of want to do the same thing in the lid itself. I just need to shave off some of that bulk here, but I do like to make a note with my pencil where to carve and where to leave alone. So the tools that we're going to be using for hollowing out would be these loop tools. So this one's for larger areas, and then this one's a little bit smaller for some smaller areas. I could probably use this tool here just to gently shave off that point. Now my clay is extremely soft, so the softer the clay is, it's actually harder to carve out because it's sticky and it doesn't want to come out. It's like trying to carve peanut butter. So if I had more time, I would let this sit for a little while and stiffen up before I start carving it. But you can see here now I've started to already hollow out the lid. As far as the base goes, probably don't want to start with this large one. I run the risk of carving into the lip there, or into the rim, sorry. So what I'm going to do with my loop tool here is I'm just going to start small. And the goal here is not to change the shape of the form, I'm just hollowing it out. I'm setting my scraps aside. It's still very soft. I can use that for another purpose. And I'm probably not going to do the whole thing here for this demonstration, but I just want to give you an idea of how to get started. You want to be mindful that you're not, carving out through the bottom, but it's helpful to start kind of in the center and gently work your way out. You're going to see cut marks, which you'll eventually have to come back and smooth out. But you can you could lighten this by half if you continue to carve away appropriately. So as you can see, I'm working my way outward. I'm going to keep carving outward until I hit that line. I don't want to carve out beyond that. Starting to carve out. This tool still might be a little bit large. Yeah, I don't think let's try it. Yep, there we go. Again, I'm doing this at a very risky point because my clay is so soft. it is helpful to let it stiffen up a little bit. But you get the idea. This is still quite thick. It's about a 1/2 inch thick down in the bottom, so a lot of that weight needs to come out, but that's something you can work on over time. This method doesn't happen in 5 minutes. It does take a little bit of a time commitment. But the cool thing is once you've hollowed it out and smoothed the inside, you can just take a few minutes to adjust the rim of the base and the rim of the lid. You might have to readjust a little bit to get them to fit, but you can see here that you now have the beginnings of a hollow form with a matching lid component.